Hello, what I wanted to talk about today is what's referred in the industry as clip art or stock art. And when we're building projects, a lot of times what we're doing is having to build things from scratch. And we're building, buildings, cars, vehicles, all different kinds of things from scratch. But wherever, with the company you're working for, the bottom line is they're just interested in making money. And so whatever the cheapest way that they can do something, that's what they're going to want to do. And so there are places that you can go out there and you can buy 3D models and buy textures, and it's very common in the industry. Here's one of the places called Turbosquid. We can scroll through here and you can see they have all different kinds of categories of things that that you can buy. And let's just look at something for a second. Okay, we'll go in here to large trucks. We'll go in here, and now here's all these different kinds of vehicles that are already made. And so let's say you're working on a project. You're working at a company, and let's say you're working on some kind of advertising project for a company, and you want to do some fleet marking graphics. And so we need a diesel truck that we're going to use. So we'll pick this one right here. So we'll go in here, and here's a diesel truck. Okay, so you can buy this. It's $160. Okay, it comes in these different file formats over here. 3dsMax, 3dsMax set up for V-Ray, Lightwave, OBJ. That'll pretty much go in anything as well as a 3DS. Okay, and then they'll have some shots in here, show you different shots of this. So it's a pretty nice model. Okay, usually they'll show you some gray shaders. So a lot of times they'll show you some wireframes, so you kind of see the structure of it. Okay, and so what you have to think about is from the standpoint of, well, if you were actually going to build this, okay, and let's say the place that you're working for is they're paying you $35 an hour. We'll just use that as a basis, $35 an hour. And this is a $160 model. So we'll say 160 divided by 35 is about 4.5 hours. Okay. So could you build this in 4.5 hours? No, you couldn't build this in 4.5 hours. So why would somebody pay you to build this if all they need was a generalized vehicle, not a specific vehicle? Now, it's one thing if we're working for Mac and they want a specific one built, that's different. But if we're just needing a diesel truck, it's economical, and this company will make more money to buy this model for $160 and then have you come in and customize it however way they need it customized. So different kinds of tires we wanted on it because there's some specific, we need it to be a different color. We need some graphics put on it. And so clip art like this is very common in the industry, okay? That's one of the things that I make sure with my students when they're building models, that they build kind of unique models, because that's what's going to be happening in the industry is you're going to be asked to build unique models, okay? This goes with textures too. There's places that you can go and you can get textures, okay? This is a place called Evermotion. This space is pretty cool. This one is specifically targeted at architecture, okay? As an example here, let's just click on this this little lamp, okay? It's pretty nice. It's 10 euros. Now, let's get a conversion here. I've got a conversion up over here. Let's figure out what that is. So 10 euros is $11, okay? So you could either build that or you can pay $11 for it. I don't know about you, but in most situations, I'm going to pay the $11 and go on down the road than spending 2 or 3 hours building this. Of course, it wouldn't take 2 or 3 hours, maybe 2 hours to build this, okay? But if I was making $35 or somebody's paying me $35 an hour, then it's going to cost me $70 for this versus $11 for it. So you can see where I'm going with this is that economics-wise, it's much more economical for people to kind of buy pre-made things. They have all kinds of different sections in here. Here's arch interiors, where you can buy a whole interior scene. Let's look at something like this one here. Okay, there's the interior scene. And of course, they give you different shots of it. Here's a down view so you can see what's all in here. okay? And these particular way, they come in volumes, okay? So you're not just buying one room, you're buying several different rooms. Okay, and this is a $120, not $120, 120 euros. What's that? So that's $133. For $133, you could buy all of these rooms pre-made, textured, ready to go. Now you still have to light them, so these are lit really well. You still have to light them, but you get the models, okay? So it's a big market, and we utilize this all the time. Excuse me. So for my projects, for this project, like when you're building interiors, I'm going to encourage you to go out and get pre-made items to put in here. You may have some custom items in your scene that you need to make. That's fine. But if you can find pre-made models that'll do for what you're needing to do, then fine. Now, there's lots of places you can go out here and get free models. Okay, here's one, TF3DM. Okay, when you come to their site, they show all kinds of, these are all free models, and then they're in categories right here. So if you're doing an interior, you would come in here, click on this little bed right here. And now at the top are models you can buy. Okay, but if you scroll down, these are all free models down here. Here's a nice sofa, nice kind of antique chair. Okay, now you have to look at these because they'll be in different file formats. Like this one right here, this living room, this is C4D. That's a Cinema 4D file. Unless you had Cinema 4D, this, you can't, this is not going to help you. What you're looking for is something that has an OBJ. See, that has OBJ. This one has an OBJ and a Max. That would be good. 3ds. Matter of fact, there's the formats that you could download right there. 3ds, OBJ, Max, and FBX. Okay, you're not going to normally see something in a Maya format. That's not a standard format that you'll see much. A lot of architecture done in Max, because it's akin to AutoCAD, which is an Autodesk product. So 3ds, if you can find something with a 3ds, an OBJ, a Max file, or an FBX, then you can convert those, okay? Like here's another one that's a room at Cinema 4D, so we couldn't download that one. Now, there are several places where you can find, and I'll post some of these. There are several places where you can find different kinds of furniture. This is a pretty cool one right here if you like the IKEA kind of furniture. There are different sets, and here are links to those actual sets where you can, these are little videos that shows you all the things in one of these sets, and then you can download those. The place I go most of the time, though, is over this place called Arts 3D. Arts 3D has some pretty good models, okay, and you'll see they have just hundreds. There are 24 on each page, and every time you click on one of these, you get a new page. Okay, so there's thousands and thousands of models over here, and you can do them by category. So if we go in over here and we click on chairs and tables, then it's only going to show me chairs and tables. And as I go through here, one by one, it's showing me different chairs. So yeah, it takes a little bit of research time to kind of find something that you like. When you finally find something you like, all you have to do is click on it. Usually most of these over here come in a GSM and a 3DS, okay? We can use the 3DS. We can't use a GSM. That's a AutoCAD. That's if you're wanting to take it in AutoCAD. But this comes with both of those. And then all you have to do is click download, and it'll download it, okay? It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. So I would encourage you guys that when you're, building interiors, that you use some of this free furniture. Now, you may have some kind of custom things like bookshelves or a custom lamp or something that you want for your specific room. Fine, build those, okay, and then fill the rest of the room out with some other types of things. Okay, here's an area on house plants. So click on those. Okay, all kinds of house plants in here. Want to put some plants in your interior? Okay. Maybe we're doing kitchens, okay? Kitchen furniture, okay? All kinds of cabinets and stuff already pre-made. Kitchenware, okay? So things we want to put on the cabinets in the kitchens, on the tabletops and such, okay? This is all free, and they come with the texture maps and everything. So I would encourage you to flesh out your scenes using some of this free geometry, Okay, and there are places, and I'll post all this stuff up, links to all this, places for free textures. Okay. All right. So let's say that we've downloaded a piece, and I've already downloaded one here. Now I have students all the time, and this kind of, perturbs me a little bit. They'll sit there and tell me, oh, well, I got some of the furniture and downloaded it, and it was the wrong size, so I couldn't use it. What the heck? What do you mean the wrong size? You never heard of a scale button before? All you got to do is pick the stuff and scale it. But there is some prep work that goes, and usually when you're downloading one of these models, there will be some prep work, okay? And so I downloaded a couch here, and I just want to show you how I would go through prepping this, okay? So it comes in, and the scale will be off. You can see there's my grid that this couch is really big. That's fine. I don't care. I can scale it down. But you're also going to see some faceting in here. Can you see all the faceting that's happening? Okay, that's because when they come in as 3dsMax files, not 3dsMax, but 3ds files, and 3ds's are triangulated usually. So everything's triangles. And the smoothing groups will be messed up. You guys are probably confused what is a smoothing group. People get confused with mesh smooth, turbo smooth, and smoothing groups. A smoothing group is not subdividing. So we're not putting a mesh smooth, we're not putting a turbo smooth. What that means is when two faces come together, okay? So when two faces come together, when this one and that one goes together, is it supposed to be smooth across there, or is it supposed to be angular across there, okay? So in other words, I'm just make a sphere here real quick. Let's get it down inside. Okay, J turns that bounding box off. We'll turn our wireframe off. And you'll see it's smooth because it has a high smoothing group. But if I go down here and I turn off smooth, you'll see it's faceted, okay? This is the exact same sphere. It's just now it's got a low smoothing group on it, okay? And now it's got a high smoothing group on it, okay? And all it's doing is calculating the angle between the polygons that are in here, okay? So when we're saying that we're putting a smooth on it, that's not the same thing as a turbo smooth and a mesh smooth, okay? A turbo smooth and a mesh smooth subdivides it. It adds geometry. So if I come in here and putting a mesh smooth on this, let's turn off our isoline. It's subdividing it to smooth it, okay? Smoothing groups, okay? And I see people doing this a lot of the time. They'll come on and put a smooth on top of it, okay? And then smooth it, and now it's fixing that smoothing group, okay? This is not the way I would tell you to do it, okay? Once this is converted to a poly, all you have to go is to the polygons and select all of them. And then you have a smoothing group section in here. You just click auto smooth, and now it's fixed it. And I never had to put some kind of a modifier on it. Okay. Plus, I can have multiple smoothing groups. I can say smooth these in a different way. Okay. So I might want different kinds of smoothing groups. Okay. All right, so that's what's going on with our couch here, is that we've got some modifying that we need to do, okay? So a couple of things that I would do right off the bat. This is all triangulated, and we want to turn it into quads. It doesn't have to be in quads because we're not going to subdivide it, but sometimes I want to modify it stuff. So this is just a part I normally go through, and I just want to convert it to quads. So if you'll go up here under your ribbon up here, okay, under your graphite tools, and we're going to go into okay, I was going to say, I don't have any tools up here, and the reason why is when these comes in is they're meshes, okay? And so what we're going to do, and let's just isolate this too. We're going to come in, and we need to go ahead and convert it to a poly, okay? So I'm just going to convert it to a poly. Now you can right-click, convert it to a poly. You can come over here and convert to a poly. You need to get to using these ribbon tools because they're pretty powerful. Okay, so now I converted it to polys. Okay, and so now we're just going to get in closer so we can see this. You can see it's all triangles. If I go up here to where it says geometry, you can go quadify right here, and when I click on this, it's going to convert these all to quads. So now I have a nice kind of smoother, well, it's not really smoother, but it's quad, so it's easy for me to edit it. Okay, so once we do that, then we still need to fix the smoothing groups, okay? We've converted it to quads, but it's still got the low smoothing groups. So we just pick all the polys, and then we're going to go down here, and we're just going to hit auto smooth. The default's a 45-degree angle, and what that means is any angle over 45 degrees will be smooth, and under 45 degrees will be angular, okay? So I'm just going to use the default, and then we can deselect and we can see that 45 degree was fine. If we still have some faceting, then we would kick the angle up higher and higher and higher if we wanted some faceting, because sometimes the things are rounded and we want them faceted, and we bring it back down the other way. Okay, so bring it down. Now we still have some problems in here. Can you see this little shading artifact that's in here? Okay, what this is where we have coincident vertices, okay? And coincident vertices is where I have two vertices occupying the same space, okay? And I'll kind of show this to you here. Let's switch to an orthographic view so we can get closer. And so if I'm not going to drag a box just like this, but I'm just going to click on it and move it, and you'll see it's torn right there. These two vertices are not welded together, and that's what's causing this seam in here, okay? So what you're going to want to do is in your vertices, you want to Control-A to select all of them, okay? Then we're going to go up here to my weld. Now, I'm not going to click the weld button. I'm going to click the little weld settings over here so I can set the settings. Now, they default to 1, and most of the time that's probably okay, but if you have any vertices that are close together, it might weld some that you don't want. You only want to weld the ones that are right on top of each other. So I usually go for a 0.01. 0.01 will pretty much only weld vertices that are right on top of each other. So now when I do that, now you'll see I don't have that shading artifact in here anymore. This has all been welded, okay? And then I'm just going to go back one more time and just go ahead and put that smooth on there again to make sure we smooth across wherever those welds were. And now that model is pretty good. And it's ready to go. Okay, so that part's done. So let's bring these other pieces out. Now, one thing that I do want, I'm going to go ahead and pick this piece right here and isolate it. One thing I do want to make you understand is that these pieces, since they're not welded, they're actually made up of multiple sub-objects in here, and that's going to be a problem because later on we want to attach all these together to scale them, and we want to make sure that everything is welded together. Okay, so you want to make sure that we've gone ahead and converted everything, to a poly, and that we've gone in and welded everything. Okay, so I want a 0.1, weld that. And that way now you'll see I can pick them as one thing because they're all welded together. Okay, and quadify and smoothing. Usually 45 will be fine. And then those are good to go. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to do the rest of these right now. Let's go ahead and do the next thing. Okay, now the next thing I would tell you to do is probably one of the situations you're going to get into is we've got to scale this and reset the transformations on it. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a transformation, reset the transformation on this. So you go over here, utilities, reset. And I will always tell you, go in here and do a hold before you do this, because if it's not right, and it kind of does something funky, you can't go back. So if we do a hold up here, now you can undo this next action. So I'm going to reset selected and then convert it to an editable poly. Okay, and that would have reset the transformation on this, which means it's now the object space and world space is the same. And then I want to go ahead and attach the rest of the stuff to this. So I'm going to go over here to my attach, and I'm going to pull up attach by list, and we're going to pick everything in the list and attach it. And we're going to leave defaults, which means leave the material IDs as they are, which means, in other words, don't change the materials that are on this already. So attach those together. They'll all attach. Okay. All right. So we'll go to the top view, and let's go ahead and rotate this forward. Oops, some pieces didn't get attached. Can you see that? Okay, they've got some kind of a group going on, so let's try attach again. As a matter of fact, I'm not just going to hit attach and pick those. Let's move it. Yeah, okay, they're all good. Okay, so we'll take this back around. Okay, so now we're going to want to scale it down. Get my measurement tool back out here. Okay, we're going to scale this down. It's 47 feet. In fact, let me make sure what I have my units set on. Yeah, that's right. And 27 feet, 17 feet, so probably around 10 feet. Somewhere right in there is about right for that. Okay. So we want to go to our top view and move it back to the center of our world. Front view, move it down. Okay, now another thing that you're going to notice here is how big my grid structure is here. Okay, so if you go up here to any one of these snaps and right click on them, this window will come up and you can go to your home grid, and this is set for a grid every 10 feet, and I want to save this, do that 1 foot. So let's switch this so that we have a grid every 1 foot. Okay, so we're just going to get in here and get it correct on the ground. And then I'm going to reset the transformations one more time. Reset selected, convert to an editable poly. And now this baby is good to go. Okay, so it's ready to come in and start manipulating. Okay, so that's how you need to prep these files, and then this is ready to use, and then you can start going in and putting your own textures and everything on it. Okay. It'll have textures on it, and you can modify those or put your own textures on there. Most of the time, you're just going to put your own textures. All you're really doing here is you're just trying to generate the model, okay, and then you're going to surface it your own way to fit your particular piece that you're doing. Okay, hope that helps you out. Thank you very much.